Hello, it's Brendan from techbuzzireland. Today we have the Datalocker Sentry 350. And in essence, what it actually is just a standard pen drive with obviously hardware encryption on the pen drive itself. So it looks a bit James Bondy type, but I suppose the one thing about it is encryption, different levels of security, cross-platform secure. So in other words, it'll work with your Apple, your Variety, your Windows, etc. This one actually comes in a 256. You can get it in a 32, 128. Obviously, all secure password protection, easy guide and setup. And I'm going to go through that in a few moments. This is one thing actually I have to agree. Easy setup, very good. Auto charging battery, USB 3 2.1, managed with a safe console. I'm not going to go to the safe console, but you can have a fleet of these particular devices, which will actually allow you to control them, delete them, etc. So USB. Packaging tells you all the information on the back: system requirements, operating system, data set getting started, create a password. One good thing on this particular unit is when you switch it on, the first thing you have to do is change the password and remember the password itself, because there's options that if you lose it, you're in trouble. Quick start guide available. I do stress it is very, very easy to set up, very easy to actually use on this particular one there. Probably what's also very important is the IP rating, which is actually on it. The IP rating is IP67, which means it's waterproof. It's the epoxy coating, which is on the chip itself, protects it from physical intrusion of water. So you can actually pull that off, and that gives you an idea of it. Look, and from that purpose, looking at it, it looks like a normal memory stick, no difference. The difference is it's got a keyboard. There's also a little bit of a display on it itself, and it's also got a fast write protection. And that's the kind of thing. So you got your keyboard. The idea is you plug it in, you set a password to something, you put it in there, you encrypt it. If, for example, there's millions every day, every year of unprotected USB drives being lost, stolen, etc., at least if this gets lost, stolen, you're in a good situation that at least the information won't be covered. So I'm just going to plug this in for a few moments and see what actually happens. Just plug it in as I would normally on a standard drive. And we can see it going through. So it's asking me now to enter a password. Now, just for the show, I'm just going to put in a Z, which I don't recommend using it, and I'll explain why. So to put in a Z, I'll go once, twice, three. So that's a Z into my details. It's a bit of a pain because you've got to press it 3 or 4 times. Get it? I'll just delete them. So you've got to set something like an 8-digit code. There is specific restrictions on what you can actually set and what you can't. So whether you decide to use numbers and letters, but because if you're using an F, an L, an I, obviously you've got to press loads of times to actually get the unit to operate. So I'm just going to put in a password. And I'm deliberately going to do this wrong. So I've deliberately put in an incorrect password there. It's told me I've 1 out of 9 attempts done. So that's what actually happens. After 10 times, the unit self-destructs. So this time I'll put in the correct password. I'm just putting it in. So now it's actually telling me to connect, how I want to connect. Now, that took me a few seconds to actually put that details in. So if you had like loads and loads as in going to Zs, it'll take longer. I do recommend having a good secure thing, but you're kind of forced. So you can't use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the 1s, all the 2s, etc. That gives you a quick idea of that particular one. Now it's actually plugged in. I'll just go enter to connect. The first time it actually comes up, it asks you to change the password and you set it in there. So you can hear the beep on the computer. That's actually just telling me it's connected. So from now, all intents and purposes, it's actually telling me, for all intents and purposes, it's telling me it's connected. The exact same as I would expect on a normal hard drive, for example. So just for, I'm going to do is the files in here, and this is just your normal D drive. This is standard enough that you see in any particular computer. What I'm going to do is I'm going to connect so I'll just pick the 10 gig file. I'm just going to copy it from the computer to it. Now we'll just ignore that. Let's just put it in here. We'll just put a timer on it just to see how long it takes me to connect the 10 gig file. And paste. Start. So as it's standing, it's copying the information over. But probably one thing that's quite important to actually see is time remaining 60. So let's use your typical Microsoft details. What you might see is going 150 meg, 160 meg, it varies, 170 meg, 80 meg. So that's probably the speed it's actually transferring in the background. Because people talk about the speed, which is really important, etc. But to me, it's more about the ease of use. One thing straight away you'll find is it's a 3-year warranty with the epoxy IP rating. Very good. You want a quality brand, because if you're using your data, the last thing you want to do is find your data is actually going to be lost. The weight of it is approximately 35 grams, 1.24 ounces. The 152, the read speed that we're actually seeing there. And I suppose one of the first things we're taught in college is back up your data, Problem with the hybrid model at the moment is we're now coming back, taking data from home into work. A lot of USB drives will actually be locked with a lot of companies there. So they'll actually lock the details, so you won't be able to actually use it directly. So before you get it, so that took approximately 1 minute and 15 seconds to actually cover over. Approximately, I'll just double check. So that's approximately 10 gig of data that we've actually done in just over 1 minute. That's as fast as you're going to get it there. So it's just a quick thing. What the box actually saying is totally true. If you want to go on a more souped up version of it, you can actually manage with speed control, safe control. That's actually a system so you can have an admin company. They can actually connect them up and have 10 of these, and they can set controls on it to actually encrypt it, to actually block them, to wipe them. So if you do lose it, they can have it an auto wipe set up on the unit itself. Once it's plugged in, it operates the exact same way as your standard memory stick. There's no difference. The only difference is it's got the display, it's got the ID of the keypad. Physically, I like it simply because I like the idea of it, because it's small enough that you can carry that amount of size on the unit itself. You don't have to be pulling loads of other things, and as far as for all intents and purposes, it uses the same operation. Physically, it feels strong, solid. It's definitely there. I'm not sure will you end up losing this particular cover on the top. It is solid there, but I'd imagine after 50 or 60 times coming in and out. Password does work, something that you have to actually remember. Keypad feels nice and tidy there with the resin on the background. It's got more information so you can see the security of it on that. This is not cheap. You can go into anywhere, in any of the main retailers, and you can get a 256 gig memory stick for under 50-60 euro. You can quite easily, some things you can get them online, but I wouldn't recommend it, because I'd always recommend getting something, if it's got to do with memory, from a reputable dealer, more so than anything else, that you can kind of go. So very important. This is going to cost you a lot more, but if in terms of GDPR, in terms of if you lose one of these, what are the consequences there? So at least having this 3-year warranty is probably not going to go 40. If it does get knocked in your case and a kind of drink spills over, a glass of water spills over on it, you've got some sort of protection. Material seems strong. Brand has been out a while, and it's got a lot. Negatives, it is not cheap, certainly expensive, but I think that's offset from the point of view of the requirements. It's putting back to the idea of if you lose your information. I do like the keyboard. I've connected with a variety of different things. It is so simple to set up. Plug it in is exactly as I've just done there. Plug it in, change your password, use it there. There is other options there. When I deliberately put in the PIN code wrong the first time, it showed it. So the next time, if I did it 4 or 5, somebody had it, and that's the idea. So that's that particular unit there. As I said, it can come in a variety of different sizes there. And thank you for watching. That's Plus Ireland.